My name is Alondra Reyes, and I am the Policy Partnerships Manager at the New Mexico Immigrant Law Center. Now, today we're going to be talking about immigrant families, how to screen and refer them to the New Mexico Immigrant Law Center or to the proper legal resources. Now, the purpose of this presentation is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It does not constitute legal advice, nor should it be relied upon as such. Attendees are not authorized to provide legal advice based on this content. For example, do not tell individuals they do or don't qualify for legal status. Do not instruct people on what they should say to immigration officials. Do not help someone fill out an immigration form. What you can do is listen compassionately to family stories and share helpful information. And you can also direct people to qualified legal resources. Now, we're going to be talking about the humanitarian pathways to citizenship. Now, remember, the following slides are for informational purposes, and the information here is very abbreviated. Immigration law right now is changing frequently and includes many complexities that we will not discuss here. Starting with special immigrant juvenile status, eligibility for this status is for children and youth ages 0 to 21 who have been abused, abandoned, or neglected by one or both of their parents. Any minor who is raised by only one or neither of their biological parents should be screened. Young unmarried parents with children may also be eligible for this status. And this type of status does open pathways to Medicaid, employment authorization, work permit, and education, access to financial aid. Now, what's the catch is that it does require a specific family court order to be obtained before turning 21, and it cannot include or even petition. You cannot include or petition for biological parents. Now, asylum is for individuals who have a well-founded fear of persecution from the government in their home country based on race, religion, nationality, political opinion, or membership in a particular social group. Now, you must be requested at the border while living in the U.S., usually within 1 year from entry. Eligible for a work permit within 6 months of applying. And the catch is that most people must apply within 1 year. Adjudications can be based on political considerations, and this does vary by jurisdiction. For example, New Mexico is under jurisdiction of El Paso Immigration Court, which denies about 90% of the cases. Now, U visas are available for survivors of certain severe crimes who have helped authorities with an investigation or prosecution of the crime, and their family members, or sometimes the family members of a minor U.S. citizen survivor of a crime. U visas are available for survivors of certain severe crimes who have helped authorities with an investigation or prosecution of the crime, and their family members, or sometimes family members of a minor U.S. citizen survivor of a crime. Examples of potential eligible crimes include domestic violence, armed robbery, sexual assault, survivors of homicide, etc. Now, you must have suffered substantial physical or mental abuse. You must obtain a certification from law enforcement that the applicant has been helpful in the investigation or prosecution. And the catch is that this is limited to $10,000 per year, so cases pen for about 7+ years. A police report or an order signed by a judge is also required. Now, T visas, this is for people who have survived human trafficking. It includes both sex trafficking and forced labor and their family members. Now, labor trafficking is for people who have worked for no pay, slavery, or their wages are used to pay debts to traffickers, debt bondage, by means of force, fraud, or coercion. Sex trafficking, when someone is induced into commercial sex acts by a trafficker by means of force, fraud, or coercion. And the catch is that there's increased scrutiny in these cases. Now, the Violence Against Women Act made it available for survivors of domestic violence and their family members if they were abused by a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident spouse, child, or parent to qualify. Now, it is not just for women. People who have needed their abuser to petition for them through a family-based visa can self-petition instead. It's eligible to apply for a work permit and permanent residence immediately in many cases. The catch is that it requires a lot of proof that can be difficult to get. And if you get divorced or your abuser dies, you must apply within 2 years. Now, you may be wondering, how do I screen for humanitarian pathways? Well, remember, screening someone does not guarantee they qualify, and it does not mean it will ultimately be advisable for them to apply for relief. Do not give legal advice. Do not make definitive statements about eligibility. Full eligibility determinations should only be made by legal representatives. Performing a preliminary screening can help make an accurate referral, but you can refer anyone even if you are unsure if they qualify. Now, a simpler and more easier way to remember is that if you believe you're working with a client or a family member who fears persecution by the government in their home country and they have entered within the last year, they may qualify for asylum. If you know somebody that has reported being a survivor of a crime in the U.S. to law enforcement, they could qualify for a U visa. If you know somebody who survived labor or sex trafficking, they could qualify for a T visa. If you know somebody who has suffered abuse by a citizen or resident parent, spouse, or child, they could qualify for VAWA. And if you know someone who is being raised by one or neither birth parent, they could qualify for SIJS. Now, who can help? Licensed attorneys, preferably, who primarily practice immigration law. Also, accredited representatives who work for an organization accredited by the Department of Justice, such as NMLC or Catholic Charities. Remember that notarios or notary publics cannot lawfully provide immigration legal assistance. Now, it's important to be careful. Even people with the best intentions can cause an immigrant to be placed in deportation proceedings. Home visitors and other community health workers and educators should be careful to only refer to qualified legal representatives and not help people fill out immigration paperwork or provide legal advice. Now, if you're a home visitor and you're thinking, what can I do to help my clients? What you can do, again, is share helpful resources. Do not offer legal advice and do not determine whether someone does or does not qualify for a certain relief. Do not help clients fill out legal paperwork. Instead, you can refer clients to legal providers, and we will be sharing our referral list. Even if someone doesn't fit into the pathways to citizenship we've shown here, they can benefit from a full consultation with a legal representative. Now, how do you refer somebody? Now, you can call us at our main line at 505-247-1023. We are open from Mondays, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m., Tuesday through Fridays, 9 a.m. to 12, then 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. That is the best way that you can refer out to us.